Well, thank you for joining me. We're about to discuss many things, one of which is a black boy gets shot in the arm by an Asian person. Where are the people with the rhetoric about race being the real virus? There's also a black valedictorian and a black salutatorian who were not allowed to enjoy their positions by themselves. They changed the rules of the school when those kids won. And guess what race those kids were? I think I probably said it. They were black. The main topic will be what kind of cartoons are they having our little girls watch these days? Tonight on the Brotep Show.
You, turn around.
You prefer the view from behind?
No, well, yes. You know I can't lie.
I'm glad you're joining me tonight. A lot of things going on. For example, there's been a power plant explosion in Puerto Rico. For those of you who are pro Hispanidad, who are always getting up in arms about me sticking my nose in Hispanic business, this is your opportunity, okay? You need to go and find out what any organization's doing about it, and then maybe you could lend a hand and see what happens, huh? Maybe you can send money, or maybe work something out to send some coolers and some generators over there. They're out of power right now. They have a major power problem, okay? And if you were pro-Hispanic all this time, you shouldn't have a problem being pro-Hispanic now when it counts, correct? So that'll be that. We've covered it at length over at Denise's channel, so I'm not gonna be redundant and cover it here, especially since it's a Hispanic thing, and I'm trying to stay in my lane a little bit. Shout out to Denise. She actually broke the story earlier than many major outlets. In fact, it looks like she broke it before New York Times. Okay? So shout out to her. Now, let's get to this show. It's reading time. If you're Negro, Rotep. Okay, just checking my volume settings here before I get going, before I go in. A black Michigan boy shot in the arm after retrieving bike from a neighbor's yard. Neighbor arrested and released 3 days later. Where are the people with the rhetoric right now? But you know what? Let me just go ahead. In Ypsilanti Township, Michigan, wow, that's a hard name to pronounce. A 6-year-old black child was shot in the arm by his neighbor, who reportedly was upset that the child's bicycle was in his front yard. The neighbor, an Asian man, first allegedly threatened the boy with a sledgehammer after he went to retrieve his bike. After the boy went to retrieve his bike. Why won't they? These people will not write these articles in a comprehensive manner. Okay? Where are we? Then the man went inside his home and fired a shot through his front window, striking the child. Now, the boy's father understandably wants to know why a man who could have killed his child with who could have killed his child is charged with assault with intent to murder is free on bond after spending only 3 days in jail. Now, family, can you imagine if it was a black guy and an Asian or white child came onto his lawn, and this guy came out there with a sledgehammer, tried to chase the child down to hit him on the head like some sort of video game, then being frustrated goes in his house, pulls out a shotgun and shoots the boy. Can you give me some indication what would be happening to that black man right now? I guess I probably don't even need to tell you. I'm trying to figure out how he got the bond solo for trying to kill my child. Arnold Daniel. Arnold Daniel. That sounds like a Haitian name. Arnold Daniel. Arnold Daniel told Fox 2 Detroit in regards to his son, Kobe, being shot by 29-year-old Ryan Lee Nguyen, who was arrested by the oh boy, these names. Wash Washtenaw, Washtenaw County Sheriff, and released Tuesday on a $10,000 bond. Okay, so that's going on. That's a little this and that for you. Okay, now let's move on to the school. Mississippi school called, let me make sure I'm still recording here. Yes, I am. And it looks like I was just reading and not showing the screen. I'm being a bad host. Bad host. Bad bro tap. All right, here we go. Mississippi school called out for naming white student valedictorian and salutatorian after two black students were already chosen. On May 24th, Ikeria Washington, that's a beautiful name, Ikeria. Oh, that's beautiful. That's gorgeous. All right. Shout out to that name and Layla too. But Layla's more common. Ikeria, I might, you know what, Ikeria, I might go ahead and make that a name of a character in my comic. On May 24th, Ikeria Washington and Layla Temple were named the valedictorian and salutatorian of West Point Consolidated School District, respectively. I guess Ikeria Washington was named valedictorian and Layla Temple was named salutatorian. Will you people please write your articles in a more comprehensive manner? According to BNC TV, however, shortly after the two black female students were set to be awarded for their academic achievements, the school, let me blow this up for those of you who aren't just listening but want to read along. The school decided to change its ranking and recognize both with the highest quality point average, QPA, and grade point average, GPA. While Washington and Temple, that sounds like a law firm. While Washington, maybe you two girls could become a law firm. While Washington and Temple have the two highest QPAs in the graduating class, two other white students had the highest GPAs, resulting in, oh, can you please stop with the commercials? This is why I don't like these websites. Where am I? Where am I? QPA, valedictorian, salutatorian. Let me see. This is someone's tweet here. A Mississippi high school had two black female students as their valedictorian and salutatorian. Then suddenly, hours before the graduation, they announced two additional students were also the valedictorian and salutatorian for a total of four. The school has deleted their social media. Look, if you ain't doing nothing wrong, why'd you delete your social media? Your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram. Why'd you delete all that? You ain't doing nothing wrong, right? And this kind of reminds me, man, I hate to be so angry so early in the show. This reminds me of Jared Taylor and Richard Spencer and Charles Murray and Stefan Molyneux saying that black people have low IQs. But then when something like this occurs, yeah, they get in their feelings. These people, the white supremacists, not regular white people, the white supremacists, they get in their feelings. And I'm venturing a guess here that the white school, I don't know, superintendent and all these people, they're closet white supremacists. They couldn't stand the thought of two black sisters, two young black women who both have amazing names, Ikeria and Layla, right? Having the distinction of being valedictorian for Ikeria Washington and salutatorian for Layla Temple. They couldn't stand it. They're like, oh, it's grinding our gears. These Negroes being acknowledged for academic achievement, for intellectual acumen. Why must we have these Negroes ruin everything? Why must we have them ruin everything? You ruin everything, right? So the reason why that gets me it really grinds my gears, gets me really mad, is because you had news stories come out about Kenya. Kenya. There are a bunch of students, black students in Kenya, who are sitting up on their laptops, writing term papers and reports and all these different things for white students in the United States and in the UK. All right. I brought that up in one of the live streams where one of these slow taps came in there and tried to sell the myth of low black IQ. Then I brought up the fact that a whole lot of these sitcom parents that we grew up with, right? Maybe not all of us, like our parents probably grew up with them, right? Of like Full House and Saved by the Bell. A lot of these parents, they used to be teenagers when those shows occurred. Now they're parents, right? So they're people with money now. They have a lot of money. Now their children were too stupid to make it into college. And so these parents, these once sitcom star parents, got together with their coaches and bribed the coaches, put money, greased some palms to get their kids in there. They were doing things like taking pictures of them hitting things at the pool, like hitting a ball at the pool, and then going, yeah, my child can get in on an athletic scholarship. They were doing these sorts of things. Hey, how about the reports that came out of all these white students taking Adderall, a drug that's used to treat a mental disability, I think perhaps ADHD, but then using that drug for focus, right, when you don't have ADHD, just so that you can have hyper focus when you take tests. That's what these white students were doing. We'll even go further in that and say, because they'll come up with, well, black students only make it in on affirmative action, diversity, all that slow tap shit. But then they'll neglect that a good portion, if not the majority, of the white students who are in these Ivy League schools getting on legacy scholarships. They're legacy students. Do you know what that means? For those of you who are not in the loop as to what that means, it means if you have people who graduated that school, right? First of all, maybe they're like George Bush and they paid other people to do their homework. I know that's a rumor, and I know that's something that we used to make fun of George Bush Jr. for. Got it. George W. Bush. It's a rumor. However, it's indisputable that when people like George W. graduate from these Ivy League schools, whether it's Harvard, Stanford, blah, 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 they can have their children come in after them as legacy students because their parents were part of that alma mater. And it also helps that those parents give lovely, lovely grease palming to the school. They may pay for an extra wing on the campus, right? Just let every one of my kids in. I'll pay for that, swim team's pool. I'll pay for that lap for the track team. But let every single one with my last name Bush in this, every single one, let them in. So now we have all that. And so I'm supposed to believe in the myth of the Aryan superior white IQ? Really? Really? No. Let's treat each other as individuals. How about that? And as far as these two women go, I know you're not women yet. You're young girls. I just want to give you the respect you deserve. These two young women, the Ikeria Washington, valedictorian, and Layla Temple, salutatorian. You guys need to make your cash apps available. You came on. They came on. One of them, I think, the salutatorian, Layla Temple, came on some sort of morning show, and then the morning anchors, they did something really nice. They asked her for her cash app, maybe her PayPal, I forget, and they all blessed her cash app. So both of you women need to do that. Okay, open up something and play the victim. Don't listen. Don't listen. Do not listen to the quote unquote conservatives. Why are you playing the victim? No, 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 no. Play the victim. You were victimized by a white supremacist system that sees you as intellectually inferior. So now, get what you deserve, okay? Anyone who will listen, you tell them this story. Then you give them your cash app, all right? Raise the money so that you can go and change the system. Now, let's go back here. Actually, let's probably move on now to our main topic, if you guys don't mind, huh? And I actually stopped the music because it was a little bit distracting, but this is for the playback anyway. Everybody's probably at the Ratchet channels talking about how, well, what are they talking about on those channels? Is K Michelle self-hating? That's what I saw when I took a look. See, I took a look to see if people were talking about Puerto Rico and what happened there. Yeah, no one was there. No one was there. Let's move on to the main topic here. Now, what in God's name are they showing our young girls? What in the heezy? There's an artist I'm going to be discussing here. And before I do that, I do want to have a disclaimer. If you want her artwork, go ahead and contact her. For anything else, here's the artist. I'm going to make this disclaimer very clear because I'm going to be discussing her. And I don't want anybody coming back to me saying that followers of mine, however few of you they are, went ahead and harassed this person. This is Noelle Stevenson. She's an artist and an animator and a showrunner. Okay. She also happens to be LGBTQIA plus. I think she's lesbian. Okay. Shout out to you, Noelle Stevenson. You had a lovely wedding, right? This is amazing. Beautiful, right? I'm happy you found love. This big ball of mud we're all spinning on can get very cruel, very cruel. And look at all the things that are happening in the world. I'm glad two souls like yourselves found each other, right? Now, moving on. Shira was a show that was around in the 80s, something like that. And when our parents watched Shira was a very feminine show. Shira was a show that kind of like served as a, I don't know, how can I put this? Shira served as a show that girls can look up to in terms of like, okay, this is how I can be a young lady. I can be strong within myself. I can respect other people. I can be mindful of other people's boundaries, etc., etc., etc. Okay. Let me see if this is. I should have named this properly. Right. However, that being the case, you saw what the women looked like on Shira. Okay. That's what the women looked like on Shira. But now the women on Shira look pretty much like so. All right. And it's a style, it's a stylistic choice, but when the show was announced, many of the fans of Shira, we were like, you know what? We don't like this new design. It looks like a boy with a wig. Looks like a boy with a wig. Flat chested. And it's a teenager. Okay. It's a teenager who's supposed to be like maybe 17, 18, 19. So there's no excuse for her looking like the way she does. Okay. But but most of us who were online saying this, we got backlash from the very same people we're about to talk about, right? Noelle knew about this and she saw it. She said nothing. She actually let us all get harassed by the militant version of the LGBT fans. They harassed us, called us man babies, called us perverts, called us borderline pedophiles. Oh, you want to fap off the images of Shira? Oh, okay, wait a minute, wait a minute. We want an older Shira. Let's imagine that we wanted to fap off the cartoons, which is a weird concept to have. But we wanted an older looking Shira. You want a boyish 10-year-old boy looking Shira for you to fap off to. Because this is what it turned into. These are two female characters. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with lesbianism or any branch of the LGBTQIA community. I'm talking about the hypocrisy. Because when it was the straight people who were basically complaining like, hey guys, I don't know if this is the right character to do this, they called us names. And they said, well, it's about children and there will be nothing sexual, nothing da 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 about it. Well, now it's sexual, but it's everyone here is gay. Um, everyone you see here, they're all gay. And the not that I've watched the show, but from what I've read, they're all gay. And this guy with the flat top, his name's Bo, and he has two dads, and he's gay, I think. So it's an LGBTQIA show. And to be honest, I saw a few trailers for those seasons, and it looks funny. It has a lot of action, has a lot of fun, and I'm supportive of the LGBTQIA community, so I support that show. However, that show sold no toys. It sold no toys, and because it sold no toys, and Mattel, I think, or is it Hasbro? I think Mattel didn't want to put more toys out that people wouldn't buy, so they went back to the original. And the LGBTQIA fans harassed Mattel for it. This is moving on to He-Man, right? What you saw here. Shout out to Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. When Prince Adam is Prince Adam, he's a white boy. When he turns to He-Man, he's a whole mulatto. Shout out to y'all. Maybe the show is trying to tell y'all something, right? When he became He-Man, he was a whole mulatto up in there. Now, that was the show, right? And then this is the new show. And the animation looks amazing. The only thing is, and I'll show you what the problem is when we get into it. Now, the problem is when, I don't know if you can see what the problem is, but, fear not, I will show you. These are versions of Tila previously. This is what Tila used to look like previously. Feminine and womanly, right? And I don't know if you can see this, but this is what the person in the middle here with the brown hair, this is what Tila looks like now. Okay? I have even more versions. It looks like when Tila has no armor on, that's what she looks like. She has that brown strap on top of her, stuff like that, and the biceps that are bigger than mine. Okay. But then when she turns into, I guess, whatever version of herself she is, that He-Man, like the equivalent of He-Man, she looks like this. Right? This is not feminine. This is a man. This is a man with wide hips. That's what it is. It's a man. And it's a slow and subtle kind of programming, but they're doing it to our children. This is the sorceress. The sorceress used to be very slim and feminine. Now, I mean, they did kind of like do something with the eyebrows and the eyelash, but she looks like a skinnier version of the man standing behind her. That's what they're doing to the cartoons now. And I know I'm making a big deal out of this because it's a cartoon, and I won't stay here long either. I'm kind of like making a big deal out of it. It's a cartoon. However, we have to be careful about programming. There's nothing wrong with Noelle Stevenson, and the reason why I had brought her up is part of the reason is that her fans are out for blood now. They said, "Why does the new He-Man have nothing to do with Noelle Stevenson's She-Ra show?" Because He-Man is She-Ra's brother, She-Ra's He-Man's sister. But when the people made He-Man, they were like, you know what? We have nothing to do with whatever's going on here. This is something else. This is something else. You know what I mean? It's something else. We have nothing to do with it. Shira, for those of you who are interested, used to look like this on the right. Now she looks like that boy on the left, the boy with the long blonde hair. Looks like Thor. The one on the left, it looks like Thor. Looks like a young teenage Thor. Not even a young 8-year-old Thor. With the winged helmet and long flowing locks, but then the boy jaw and everything. Looks like Thor. Okay. So they said, look, we want nothing to do with that show. We want our universe to be separate. Now the thing is, they still didn't bypass the infiltration of people with agendas because the female characters ended up looking like this. I will never get over this. What are you doing? What are you programming our young? No wonder so many of our young women are taking on this masculine persona all of a sudden. Anything you could do, I could do better. That's an old song, but I can do. What did Obama say? Women can do anything you can do, only in heels, right? Okay, yeah, I got it, Barry. Like, go, play golf. No, go play basketball. You didn't play golf when you were in the office. Uh, so that's pretty much what I wanted to bring up here. That we are programming our young girls to see themselves as more masculine in order to be more powerful. There are many forms of strength. Even though He-Man has very brute muscular strength, like he's taking on Skeletor here. I don't know why this guy's name is Skeletor. It's always bothered me that he's Skeletor, but he has all these muscles. However, He-Man and Skeletor have very overt, obvious strength. Okay, look over here where he's doing kind of like a Napoleon on a horse kind of thing. Very, very beautiful animation. You guys have to watch this show. Even with all the crap I'm talking about it, I want you guys to go there and watch this show. In fact, I don't know how long this episode will stay up because I showed a lot of the footage that's in the trailers, but I couldn't get permission for them to be in the trailer, so it might for the trailer to be in here, so it might get struck down by copyright. Who knows? All right, we'll see what happens. The artwork here is kind of like Tumblr. I'll get more into depth about what Tumblr art is when I can. But that's been the Blowtep show, about how our young women are being taught to look very masculine and to behave in very masculine manners. They're not embodying their feminine. And how our young boys are being taught the opposite. Right, they got the skinny jeans. Although I ain't gonna lie, I'm looking for some skinny jeans. Some of that shit look fly. I was looking into skinny jeans, and I'm not really a teenager like that. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they're wearing all the skinny jeans, and these guys are getting their nails polished, and they're taking. Then some of them are, believe it or not, some of them are getting their eyebrows and their eyelashes done. Right. So, and if it's RuPaul's, that's the other thing. If that's your thing, then that's fine. But they have garden variety boys doing this, so it's not that they're gender fluid or anything like that. It's just become a thing, and I think it's affecting how our young boys interact with the world, just like the hypermasculinization of these cartoons they're having our girls watch are affecting how the girls interact with the world. Funny story. Out there in out there in the UK, there was a woman who was getting beat up on by some sort of guy with mental issues. And all the men in the train cart, they got up and they left. They left. They left her in the care of that mentally disabled, super strong kind of guy who was throwing her against the wall, banging her head against things. Yeah. Now, the rationale of those two guys was, well, she's a strong, independent woman. She can take care of herself. She doesn't need a man to rescue her. This is what happens when you have this narrative out there. That's what happens. So you have all these, you know, that woman and those guys probably grew up watching Buffy. They're probably Gen Xers, right? So they grew up watching Buffy, kicking vampires across the ceiling, right? Throwing guys out the window. So they have this idea that if you see a woman in trouble, don't step in there and try to help her. What are you, sexist? She can take care of herself. And so they left her. They left that woman on the train car, or as they call it in the UK, they left her on the tube. They left her on the tube to fend for herself. They left her on the train car to fend for herself against that huge guy with mental disability. Shame on them. Shame on them. All right. I think that'll be all for today. I'm doing another show right now about something else. You'll have to tune in and watch that. Okay. And so, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. If you're on any social media platform, go ahead and hit that, you know, um, hit that share button so that you can distribute a link to this platform, a link to this video. Let's grow this platform. Currently, we're at 120 something. I don't really watch the subs like that, but the subs are like in the 100, right? Like 100 something. And we want to get it to something like 500. How about that? Can we get it to 500? Let's get it to 500. So that when you have a big platform, you get the message better. You know what I mean? So let's uh let's go ahead and shut this down. Okay. Oh, 151 subs. Thanks for thanks for looking, Denise. I don't really look at it like that, And oh, and I forgot the Cash App. See, Denise, it's good that you have that white admixture. All right, it's good you have that white admixture. You're the thinker. You're the thinker. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me get that. See, that's Denise right there. Denise is a thinker. You know what I'm saying? Let me put that Cash App up. If anyone wants to bless that Cash App, please go ahead and do so. Your contribution doesn't really go directly into my pocket. Literally, it goes into my pocket, but metaphorically, what it does do is help pay for projects, right? One of the projects we have is called Far Quest. It's kind of like a black Star Trek. Not really even black, because let me show you the cast here. It's a mixed cast. The only thing is, many people will look at it and be like, "Oh, that's the Black Star Trek," right? Because we have a black woman here on the far left, and but if you can see the many varying skin tones and features, the woman with the forearm, she's Dominican, right? The lady is Castilian Spanish. The one with the blonde hair is Castilian Spanish. The white boy, I think he's Colombian, right? And so it's a mixed cast. And if you guys love to support Lispanidad and all these different things, right? The artists that you're looking at, whose work you're seeing here, the artists whose work you're seeing, they're from Latin America, okay? Especially the lady who colored it, she's having a baby. And I think at this point, she's probably had the baby. I don't know, because I sent work for her to color, and the work hasn't come back yet. And I'm like, don't worry about it, because I figure she's probably having, some bed rest because she's probably back from the hospital having the baby. So until then, I probably have to color my own work, and then it comes out looking a little bit like this, which isn't it's not terrible, but it certainly isn't this. You know what I mean? She's way better than I am. They say that women see about 40% more color than men, and I believe that now. I believe that now. So, anyhow, like, comment, subscribe. I said that already. Hit that bell for notifications. Said that already. And if you're on any social media platform, go ahead and spread a link to this channel, spread a link to this video, and let's grow this platform. Talk to you guys in a couple minutes.